We saw Looper, by the way, there's probably going to be spoilers.
Oh yeah, there's going to be spoilers.
There wasn't enough lesbian naked crossbow rape.
There wasn't enough, there was some.
Yeah. Spoil away.
Looper, I enjoyed the film. It was actually pretty good. It was character drama based around time travel. But the best part about it is Bruce Willis motherfucking dual-wielded P90s, bitches! And P90s are the best things in the world ever. And that woke up my sat-nav by me screaming.
I had a similar reaction to this that I did with Inception. In that, okay films, reasonably intelligent, well executed, critics go crazy over and nerds go crazy over because getting high concept films that aren't based on pre-existing properties is really fucking uncommon. So we take average and decide that it's amazing, which is a bit sad. This shouldn't be the exception. This should be the standard for sci-fi movies.
I enjoyed it though. I will just squee over a P90 being dual wielded because that's awesome. I thought the movie itself was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fine. Especially whenever when we had those kids from Akira. You got a film about time travel and that's perfectly fine, and then they add in fucking telekinesis and Akira powers. It wasn't necessary.
One thing I really didn't understand was these loopers and this gang have been set up by a guy from the future. So the loopers are using blunderbusses and the gang are using GATs. Now, I'm not sure if the GAT is a real gun, but it looks like a giant-sized version of a fucking duck hunt rifle. Or a fucking rhino gun. It's just a giant fuck-off revolver. And why?
Yeah, the guns are silly. It's like they only have two types of guns, and you get promoted using one or the other one. It's you're shooting your crime syndicate in the foot if you're giving your men a particular type of gun, a la video game. It's like these guys do this, only get this type of gun. These guys do this, only get that type of gun.
And yet this weapons locker has lots of guns that nobody uses.
Yeah, and then Bruce Willis gets
chucked into the weapons locker.
And to quote X-Force, "You chucked the wrong guy into a weapons locker." It was Cable. Yeah, it was. There were definitely good elements. I'm gonna be probably controversial here and say that Bruce Willis was the fucking hero. Bruce Willis. Okay, in the context of this fictional universe, killing the evil child would make the world a better place. Bruce Willis wants to kill the evil child. Kill the evil child, world becomes a better place. This doesn't work in the real world because we don't have 100% knowledge that will make things better. However, in the fictional world, as audience members, we do know that. Kill the fucking child.
But the loop ended up that Bruce Willis was creating the evil child.
No, he wasn't. He was not creating the evil child. The evil child became the Rainmaker in the world that Bruce Willis went back in time and died in. That child is going to go on to become evil. The heroes in this, accomplished nothing. The world's going to become a dystopian nightmare because the heroes won. Good on ya! This is like 12 Monkeys all over again. Bruce Willis goes back in time, accomplishes exactly nothing. Although in 12 Monkeys it was a predestination paradox. He was always going to die, and then the point of it wasn't his actions, it was something else. So 12 Monkeys is better.
Although he did accomplish something, he managed to
dual-wield rifles,
kill a bunch of people who are now going to be dead in the future, kill a couple of children who could have grown up to be scientists or whatever.
Yeah, they could have grown up to be Hitler.
Also,
oh no, wait, that was the kid they didn't kill.
And also managed to redistribute quite a lot of wealth that is arguably his. If I go back in time and steal something from my former self, is it mine?
Legally, your former self is the one that exists in the time period you've gone into, and you do not. Legally, it is theft, because you are not the same legal person as your former self. You will be a non-person who doesn't legally exist.
Still, it was it was formerly his, and he was
Yeah.
trying to give it back to the owner, but he managed to give it
Yeah.
instead
If you
about 30
kill-
tons of silver to a random woman.
If you kill, but if you have something, and then you don't have it again, and then you take it, even though it used to be yours, that's called theft.
Well, actually, at the time, he was trying to give it back to the person who belonged to his former self after it was taken from him by the Gat Gang.
Yeah, he still stole it though.
From the Gat Gang.
Yeah, that's fine. He still stole it.
We did steal
But
it.
you
We're
were
all
arguing
dead.
about whether stealing it from yourself is theft, and it is.
True, I was, but I was sort of like
Yeah,
thinking,
so it's even more clear. If he steals it from the Gat Gang, it's still theft. But
But
you
the
know,
Gat Gang were all dead at that point. So
Yes.
it's more grave robbing.
it's murder and theft. It doesn't matter if you kill a person when you're stealing something from them, or even if you steal it after the death. It's still technically theft if the person's dead, because they're dead. It was your
so
property.
your hero is a murderer and a robber.
Yes.
Okay.
You know who you're talking to. I've seen a lot of films where the heroes are murderers and robbers. Bruce Willis was the hero, although Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I don't know, on occasions,
He
He
looked
looked
a lot like Keanu Reeves.
I didn't notice that, but on occasions he looked like Bruce Willis, yes, and most of the time, though, he just looked very uncanny valley. It was like, the guy's face looks weird. What's going on with him?
That's why he looks like Keanu Reeves.
You know they're making Bill and Ted 3.
With Keanu Reeves.
Yes, and Alex Winter. So, Jeff Daniels was good.
And he's short.
And young Jeff Daniels, well, they never really spelled it out.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I was thinking he was the Rainmaker because there had to be some sort of reason for that klutzy idiot, to keep getting
Yeah.
points. So,
Although, they could have made it something obvious, like pointing out the fact that they alluded a few times that he'd shot himself in the foot, literally. So they could have had, Abe, or whatever the fuck you called him, limping, or something, to allude to that as an in-joke to people who were sort of thinking, those two guys look similar.
he's got a real interest in that guy, and everyone else, if they failed that much, would have been killed by him, but he's not. And they don't state it even. It's like, yeah, you're totally going to think this is what's happening. We don't care. They should have killed the child. Child should have died. Enough said.
No, that's sequel baiting. We can go back to the dystopian universe
You mean go back?
in the future.
They only saw like 3 minutes of it. How disturbing was Bruce Willis with emo hair?
Oh god.
That one shot.
That was like somebody with radiation poisoning.
Yeah, it was like, hey, Jordan Gleason-Levitt getting older and older and older, and then suddenly, holy shit, it's Bruce Willis with the emo hair, and then suddenly Bruce Willis is bald, as per usual. Oh, and, okay, the way the film was constructed, you have, shit happens, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's killing people, blah, 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 blah. Then Bruce Willis arrives, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt fucks up, and Bruce Willis runs off. And then we cut back to Bruce Willis arriving again and getting killed, and then we see how Joseph Gordon-Levitt became Bruce Willis that came back in the first place.
So we're
Why
looking
the fuck did they do it in that order? It would have been much simpler if you'd had Bruce Willis arrives, in the film, he does his shit. Bruce Willis arrives, kill Bruce Willis, he gets older,
show the future, then
becomes
show
Bruce
things
Willis,
like that.
goes back, changes history. It's like, okay, we're altering history in the film as it goes. With
But
this
that
one,
would have
it's
made
like,
it one linear plot, the plot following Bruce Willis, whereas this one was following the plot of Jordan Gordon, whatever.
yeah, but it didn't follow his plot all the time. For the way they've got it set up here, it's like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, abandon him for about 20 minutes, go back to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's not his story either way.
Oh, Mr. Levitt had a type.
You should have done it the other way.
The girls he fell in love with looked bizarrely similar.
Random fucking sex scene. I facepalmed.
They were doing so well up until that point.
Yeah, they have a random fucking sex scene when they could have been using that time killing the fucking mutant child. It's a tragedy. And then there was the guy who got killed, a la Professor Xavier in X-Men 3.
Yeah.
Jean Grey as a child should have been killed in X-Men, back, history thing. They're making in X-Men 5 his Days of Future Past, and Patrick Stewart says he's involved.
Oh, I like Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, although I have to say, it'd probably be better if he didn't have it, then they could continue on from X-Men 3 because he's dead. But then you could have like Magneto in a wheelchair and having no powers, a la, the actual Days of Future Past comic. But it's going to unite. Apparently, it's going to unite the cast of X-Men First Class and X-Men the other films, because Days of Future Past is future. It was in the comic. It was Shadowcat gets sent back in time into the body of her previous self and tries to change history. So it's like dystopian future Sentinels have taken over. How to change history. So it's like it's a good way to unite both X-Men, film universes.
It's a good way. Yeah. Is Hugh Jackman in it?
Well, yeah, and he's currently filming the sequel to X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he's looking like Bruce Lee.
I don't like Hugh Jackman.
He's part of the thing.
If
they're going to do Days of Future Past, what I hope they'll do is what they did in the comic. Wolverine, in the future, being one of the X-Men who is in Terminator-style future, trying to survive, and then gets killed by the Sentinels. Wolverine dies in that, and then they change the story. So you could have Wolverine in the future, not in the present, kill Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's like, oh yeah, how awesome, shit got real. They killed the entire... In that story, they killed the entire X-Men.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. You had the last
Did they kill Spider-Man?
Well, probably. It was not shown in the thing. It was an X-Men story. You had
Spider-Man
Colossus.
was an X-Men for a while.
He was not a mutant. You had Storm. The last three were Storm, Wolverine, and Colossus.
Yeah.
Colossus was the last one to go down. The last thing you see... You don't even see him die. The last thing you see is him getting pissed off at Storm's death and throwing a Sentinel out of a building.
Colossus is hard to kill.
Yeah. Then Phoenix, who is Rachel Summers, who's Cyclops and Jean Grey's clone's daughter. Don't ask. Is all like, oh, I'm listening. I'm hearing Colossus. He's so angry. What's going on? Oh, he's gone. It's like, oh. Colossus went down, killing fuckloads of Sentinels. Yeah. So, fuck this. I want to see Days of Future Past the movie, and hopefully they can kill a mutant child in it.
You just like killing children.
If you know for a fact that killing a child is going to make the world a hugely better place, the only moral thing to do is kill the child. Unfortunately, we live in the real world where you don't have a 100% chance of anything. You've got 99.9999999. It's not gonna, we don't. The real world does not deal in absolutes. So this does not. So this does not work in the real world. However, in fiction, yeah, I feel quite happy to state. Bruce Willis was the hero. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, every time he didn't put a cap between that small child's ears, villain.
I will say the child was fuck awfully creepy.
Yeah, he's putting his... The mother's even worse. The mother's like, oh, I'm putting my... Sarah Connor, ripoff. She's putting her, feelings for her child above the rest of the human race. Selfish cunt!
The needs of the many do not always outmeet the needs of the one. I can't speak today.
The need of the one is the one who's going to kill the many? Yes, they do.
I never said that he killed the many. They said he took over the cities.
He took over. Although, to be fair, the person who's giving us information is actually a gangster guy, so for all we know, he might have just been killing off gangsters.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure what exactly he was doing. If he was just a guy who was killing
Look at the universe they laid out. It was pretty shitty. He could be the guy who got clean food and water to everybody.
He could have been like Elliot Ness. He could have been... Actually, it reminded me a little bit of a movie I watched a couple of days ago called Gabriel over the White House, which someone suggested for review, and it's going on my list! Basically, this guy gets hit by... This guy's like, it's 1930s. He's like, I'm in the Depression and I'm a president. Everything's great. No taxes, socialism is evil. Then he's in a car crash, and then he wakes up again, and he's been infused with God. It's indicated that God's taken over, and he becomes ultra-socialist president, nationalizes a bunch of stuff, and then seizes control of Congress, becomes a benevolent dictator, kills the gangsters, gets rid of all the amendments they don't like, and brings peace to America via being a benevolent dictator. Then he goes to choose the rest of the world and goes, hey dudes, I've got this amazing super weapon and I will destroy the rest of the world unless you agree to peace. Well, you agree to peace, fine, sign stuff, he dies, peaceful world, happy ending. Film is actually very pro-fascist.
Okay.
The guy, the Rainmaker thing reminding me of that is like, maybe he's just a guy killing gangsters and bringing peace to the world. I don't know.
Yeah, like the Cardinal.
But yeah, Gabriel over the White House, like, what the fuck?
That sounded a bit what the fuck.
It's one of those movies where you've got it's one of those emotional sort of, it's an emotional cinematic wank fantasy. It's like, yeah, the world would be so much better if, just someone good took over and killed all the bad people. Completely childish, does not work in real life, but is emotionally fulfilling. It's a bit like Judge Dredd in that way.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd.
That was a good film. We should do a vlog on it.
Well, we did.
Oh.
We'll do another one right now. Although someone did suggest that if you watch The Raid while listening to 80s music in slow motion, that's basically like watching Dredd again.
If you watch The Raid, you speed it up slightly. It's like watching a Bruce Lee movie.
That's true. Yeah, Gabriel of the White House, it's going to be amazing.
No, can we get back to Looper? I don't even know what to
Kill the fucking child!
dual wield P90s and then have them randomly turn into an M4 carbine without swapping your weapon out. Oh wait, no, there were no continuity errors, especially not with the length of a certain character's cigarette. It's getting longer and shorter and longer and shorter, and I'm like, what, is she chain smoking?
I did not notice that. I was too busy going on, like, you can kill the child now. You could be killing the child. You're not killing the child, dude. Why aren't you killing the child?
Actually, my thought during the sex scene was, why aren't you watching? Bruce Willis could be standing at your door now. I don't give a shit to what side you're on with, you think the...
Oh, no, it was fine. Joseph Gordon-Levitt knew that, the sort of guy he is, Bruce Willis, would actually be standing in the window masturbating while watching them. He knew they were safe.
I don't know what I'm going to be like 30 years.
Of course, Bruce Willis knows where he is. Bruce Willis knows that the guy's currently having sex. He knows how long he'll take in bed. He's like, do I have time? Shit, yeah, I do. He could have done that.
Yeah, we established that Bruce Willis pretty much has active feed on the guy's memories. Oh, God.
This film's logic doesn't really work. Although, the bit where the guy was all like running and then they started surgically removing parts of him in the past.
That was fucking
and
awesome.
He was noticing parts of his body were going. It was like, yeah, well done, guys. That was a good way to establish that.
Yeah, that was pretty damn good, especially when his nose came off.
Yeah.
That made me cringe. That was pretty good effect as well.
See, that was just cold and horrible and nasty. The sort of thing they should have had later on when they introduced the demon child.
Oh, I like the one joke in it. You know that other waitress that works here? Joe. Yeah. She's a shorter name. After he had carved Beatrix into his arm.
We do know why she was called Beatrix. Just to throw us off.
So it could be like Beat.
Yes. So then he was like, oh. Okay, for a microsecond, I was like, oh, that's clever. Then the rest of my life, I was like, that was fucking stupid.
I was wondering why they picked the name Beatrix at the start of my... Is that a
possibly a reference to the bride from Kill Bill? Her name was Beatrix.
But it was like, whenever they were killing the first guy, they carved B at and then the name of a location in 15 minutes on his arm. So whenever he was pulling up, Bruce Willis pulling up his sleeve and said B at, you're like, oh, for like a second before you realise.
You notice how young Jeff Daniels looks a lot like young Jason Fleming? I'm thinking they should have had Jason Fleming playing Jeff Daniels. You don't know who Jason Fleming is, do you?
Oh, of course I do.
What was he in?
A film or two.
True or false, he said the line, "Good God, it's Billy."
No.
No, it's true, actually. It was in Deep Rising.
I don't know who Jason Levitt is.
Jason Fleming. He's an English guy.
I don't follow celebrity culture.
Not a celebrity.
I don't follow actors. I follow directors.
Okay, he was also in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for some reason, playing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, I know him, yeah.
He looks like the guy.
He does, actually.
There we go.
Except
Director guy. Okay, next time, if you get a chance to remake your film, doesn't often happen. Some directors do remake their stuff. If you do, Jason Fleming as the older Jeff Daniels, and kill the child.
Actually, you give me an idea. If I ever get the chance to make a film, I'm going to have a lot of lead actors that look a lot like each other, but not exactly. Just swap them out randomly.
I was wondering, was the sounds a bit like Todd Sonnett's palindromes, but he didn't bother with making them look similar. He just had, hey, one scene you're a small white boy, the next scene you're a fat white black woman.
Oh, not even make them look similar. Just hire actors that look very similar.
Let's see. I had an idea for how someone could do a film like what was it? What's the manga with the water and the panda? And the cat.
Ranma half.
Yes. If they did a Ranma half film, you could have the main characters cast twins, male and female twins, as Ranma, as both Ranmas. And then you do it as everyone else is normal, and they get done sort of, you wait until mocap is really, really good, and then take the performance of each of them, and then it's like, you want male Ranma, 90% guy, 10% woman, then female Ranma, 90%, 10%. It's like you create a merging of both.
For that, you're going to need a lot of very, very similar performances.
I know.
That's going to be hell on the actors.
I know.
Shut up, Joss.
Fucking around with actors is what you do, and killing children. I will not reiterate that enough. If you see your child living in a fucking... Have they not seen the Twilight Zone episode with Bill Mummy from the 60s, where the small child living in the rural community, followed by with the fucking cornfields around them, has magical powers? Has no one seen... I forget the name of it. It's a Good Life? Fucking hell, you kill the child. You haven't seen that, have you? The entire story is this child with godlike powers, and they're sort of taking... You know, you've seen the Halloween episode of The Simpsons where Bart has powers, and he's like, oh, now in America it's called Boner Land, and if he doesn't like what you do, he turns into like a Jack-in-the-Box or whatever.
That was Maggie had the powers.
That was Bart.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different one then.
Well, that's basically the sort of thing that happens. If you don't make... The child can hear your thoughts, and if he doesn't like what you're doing...
Oh, you know, I have seen that. I've read the book.
He kills you or sends you into the cornfield. They never really establish what that is, although they did do a sequel.
I've read the book. Sends you into the cornfield.
Yeah. This is a fucking cornfield and a omnicidal, crazy little, power-given child in it. Yet again, kill the fucking child.
Kill all the children.
Yeah, I admit that at best the child might grow up and play Lanier in a remake of Babylon 5. I don't want a remake of Babylon 5. I don't even want the original one. In fact, go back in time and kill everyone before Babylon 5 happened.
I will just go back to nitpicking with this movie. The farm girl's teeth were too perfect.
I was sure she was sent back in time by the Rainmaker to look after him. That makes far more sense than, oh, he says that I'm not his mother because I had him, and then my sister ran off with him, and, then she got her head exploded, and then I, started looking after him again, and now he hates me.
But she didn't get her head exploded. She died the same way that Gatman did.
Yeah, head exploded.
It's chest exploding.
It
was a mental attack.
A la Phoenix from X-Men 3. Again, should have killed Jean Grey. Yeah, the simple. Rainmaker sends her back in time to look after him, thus proving he's evil, and therefore you should kill him again.
You see, I kept thinking they were going to allude that Rainmaker was actually somehow, what do you call him, Jason Julian, blah, blah.
Who?
The actor who looks like...
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, that name's confusing.
How would he do that? Because he's...
No, his son. Somehow. Because of time trial fuckery. No, like he had her with the Sarah Connor. And then the child was sent back in time.
Yeah, they could have done that. That's another way of doing it.
Because they kept pointing out, like making shots that made them look similar, and I was like...
Yeah, that could have been an interesting twist ending, but that, again, wouldn't have worked if Bruce Willis... he killed Bruce Willis, and then he wouldn't have gone out to the farmhouse and had sex with them, so, again, the look wouldn't work. This film does not work!
Well, within the time travel laws that are set in most fictional universes...
How do you create time travel and then get a law against it? Because the second you create time travel and you make a law against it, someone will, before the law comes into effect, send someone back in time to change the fucking results of the law. And you need the entire world to be controlled by this one thing in order to make it the law anyway. And, as soon as one country decides to invent time travel, other countries are going to get it too, and then there's going to be this sort of weird sort of war going on between them as they go back in time further and further in order to make their history better. It's like...
My question is, where the fuck were they getting all this gold?
That's another question.
There are better uses for time travel than killing people.
And if you want to kill someone via time travel, drop them in the middle of the Antarctic, or the bottom of the, what do you call it, the big trench?
The Arctic Trench.
Was it Antarctic? It's the mile deep thing in the Atlantic.
Or just send them back 1,000,000 years, and you never have to fucking care.
Well, they might step on a on a what's a butterfly, and then the humans are going to get turned into catfish.
Well, then send them back to the time of Jesus, and then you've created Jesus.
There is a story about that. There's a science fiction story where the historian goes back in time to see Jesus and be all like, "Is this true?" and all, and he discovers that there is a Jesus, son of Joseph and Mary. He's a village idiot, and then he's like, "This guy can't be Jesus," so he decides, "I must be Jesus," and so he starts telling everyone about Jesus, and gets himself crucified.
I've read one where the crucifixion, the trial of Jesus is one of those popular time travel destinations ever, and you go through the magic machine that makes you look like you should look and understand the language of the period. Then you go back in time, and a guy goes back in time, and the crowd's shouting, "Barabbas! No, we want Barabbas, not Jesus! Kill the fucking Jew!" And then he realizes, holy shit, there's no actual locals here. These are all just tourists. We killed Jesus.
Isn't that the whole point of Christianity, that everyone killed Jesus?
Yeah,
So this is a very Christian sort of...
It was a very Christian story, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was quite funny. It's just time travel and Jesus seemed to have...
Well, they just time travel someone to the... You know, like a mile above
Or, why not
Wales.
just time travel them to this exact spot 3 months ago, and they'll be floating in space.
Yeah, that's another problem with the whole thing. There's something else as well. You know, not enough child killing overall.
Yes. There was enough sort of weird... I suppose it made sense that she had stronger TK powers than the random people. Considering that she gave birth to the beast.
The abomination.
Yeah. So she must have fucked a guy who also had really super strong TK powers.
Oh, to quote Bob 5. Do you have any idea what it's like to be a telepath making love to another telepath? It's like mirrors of pleasure in infinity. It was something like that. I don't like Bob 5, so I really can't be expected to get the quote correct. It was Jason Ironheart who said it about fucking Elite Alexander. There was something I was going to mention about that's important. I've forgotten.
Bruce Willis was dead all along?
Yes. Well, he
He was.
yeah. Well, all these people accomplished nothing. The hero's way of winning was to shoot himself, therefore stop his older self from killing Hitler. You know, the film, you know, has the whole thing that this child will basically, you know, he is feared, he kills lots of people. He is essentially future Hitler. Is it the action of a hero to have them to kill themselves in order to stop someone else killing Hitler? Yeah, the person who takes Hitler's place might be worse, but you don't know that.
If you ever read a thread, there's a thread in the time travel forum called Let's Kill Hitler.
Named after a Doctor Who episode.
No, the Doctor Who episode was a lot later than this. But it's basically about, you get... It's like, hey guys, I'm new to this whole time travel thing, but guess what I did? I went back and I killed Hitler. And it's just all the mods like, oh, for fuck's sake, not another one.
Is this the same forum that John Titor appeared on?
I can't remember. Who's John Titor?
John Titor is this internet character. He claimed to have been from like the year 2050. He went back in time and he sort of appeared online giving information about the future. And they've never managed to work out exactly who he is. And he obviously he's a fake because he didn't get everything perfectly right in his information. Although some stuff he did get right.
I am like a black hole of exposition, by the way.
He got some bits of the future right, but you know if you're gonna make guesses about 30 years in the, or you know, I think he appeared in the 90s, so 20 years in the future, you're gonna get one or two things right. Like for instance, I am now making a prediction that in 20 years there will be a moon.
And in several hours the sun will rise.
Yeah, see, these are predictions, so, you know, we'll throw one out, you know, just that is probably a bit unlikely. In 20 years, Chelsea Clinton will be a senator of the US Senate.
At some stage, over the next 3 years, I will wave my penis at traffic. I predict it. A lot of that is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's easy, it's like John Titor did stuff like that, and they never worked out who he was. Just one of these internet mysteries.
That's true.
It's very, very, it's a very odd type of trolling.
High-class trolling.
Yeah,
If one citizen had a keyboard.
yes. God damn it, there was something I wanted to mention that I'll remember when we stop this recording.
Yeah.
It was a fine film. It was, you know, it was okay to good. It was not terrible. It was much better than things like Magic Mike.
Oh, shit. At one stage, Bruce Willis is running at people with these giant-ass revolvers, and he's using a guy as a meat shield. And the guy takes like 4 hits in the back. I have seen things get shot with those revolvers. They rip through about 3 people.
Yeah, but it's the reference original Total Recall. Original Total Recall.
Original Total Recall?
Yeah, because the...
No, I was trying to make you do the gesture again. Awesome.
The, yeah, because the book that it was based on was called We Remember It For You Wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never read it myself, but Sci-Fi Guy, who has read it, gave me the plot synopsis. Apparently it's the first 30% of Total Recall and then ends before he goes to Mars.
Oh, okay.
It's like, they capture him again and they're like, oh no, he's just going to go off to Mars and, you know, he's going to work out he's an agent. Let's give him an interesting life so he doesn't remember he's an agent. Dude.
I think we've been completely tangential in this review.
Kill the fucking mutant child.
Okay, I concur. Kill the child. You've repeated it enough and now I believe you. It's like American politics all over again.
Yeah, well, Bruce Willis died in the first time down, and the Rainmaker still happened. Killing Bruce Willis did fuck all. Joseph Gordon-Levitt should have realized this. If Bruce Willis gets sent back in time, then Bruce Willis cannot have succeeded in the previous one, so he must have killed his version. Joseph Gordon-Levitt should have realized he's not making the future a better place by killing himself.
So what you're saying is that we should have 129th term abortions?
No, I'm saying that if you have 100% accuracy rate in working out that someone's going to be the next Hitler, then you are morally obliged to not impede someone else from killing them. You should definitely not kill yourself in order to stop someone else killing someone who is definitely going to be the next Hitler.
Also, I will point out...
This is no different than killing Skynet as a robo-baby.
True.
This is like a reverse Terminator. You had... The woman even looked like Sarah Connor. And she was like, I'm looking after baby Skynet, and it's heroic that we're gonna, you know, John Connor, future, we gotta kill the guy trying to kill the... This is like the Terminator but in reverse, and the Terminator and Kyle Reese are the same person. Well, T-1000 and Terminator are one person. Are both Kyle Reese.
What?
This is like Terminator 2, but reverse, because Sarah Connor is looking after baby Skynet.
Just say, it's like Terminator 2, except John Connor grows up to be a dickhead.
No, John Connor grows up to be Skynet, and the T-1000 and the T-800 are both Kyle Reese.
Okay.
There you go. That's what this movie is. And
it was pretty.
it was
It
fine.
was nicely shot. They used the rule of third a lot. They had a lot of pretty sunsets over a field of what they were calling Kane, what wasn't.
Stop talking about the golden ratio.
I'm a photographer!
I've passed university level degrees in film production.
But it was really pretty. There were just so many screenshots that were obviously just meant to be the fucking cameraman just having fun.
So, next time we hang out to do a review of another vlog, unless we get the time to see Sinister later on this week, I will be back from America. I will be marriage digged, and right now we're going to take notes for a movie called Dead Shit: The Talisman of Tikhania.
Which we have seen.
But it's only half an hour, so it won't take too long.
I'm also going to make pie while we're watching it.
Okay.
Well, thanks for watching, folks. Also, one last point. I am the driver.